I got out, but did my challenges end just because I ended the marriage? No, they didn't. Now I had a new set of challenges. And now I couldn't even blame anyone because now it was just me.
I think there's a point, Eram, that I hope you'll address here. It seems to me it was brought up by some of your viewers, is that what we're talking about sounds all well and good in the ideal, but what about the reality of the situation as it exists in most marriages in Pakistan right now? And how should women, from your perspective, how should women respond to a man who is oppressive, who is having affairs, who is lying, who is doing many things which are contrary to the Prophet's teaching, contrary to Islam, and yet he's the head of the household. He's the one in charge. What should they do?
Okay.
What does a woman do in that situation?
You put me on the spot. Thank you for doing that, Chris. Because, of course, 90% of questions that I get these days are pertaining to that. And the old Eram, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, as you know, I volunteered for victims of domestic violence in Texas, in Dallas. The old Eram would have said, kick him to the curb, and you don't need to take abuse, you don't need to take this, and walk out. The reality is, like I said, I live in Pakistan. I see what the socioeconomic conditions are here. Sometimes
Right.
it is not possible for a woman to leave. And as much as I would like to open shelters and have them all over the country, I can't. They don't exist. And I also know that such a woman not only will face financial issues, she will face all kinds of cultural and social issues. She will be isolated, she will be ridiculed, she might even get killed. And you have to be cognizant of all of that because, like I said, this is not all happening in a vacuum. So now when somebody comes to me for that kind of an advice, um, what I do is I put them in my 30-day transformation course, and I say, well, take this course, because here's the thing: at the end of the day, no matter how hard and challenging life is, and it's different challenges for different people, how do you make it through? Is when you have a strong connection with yourself and with God. So,
Yeah.
going back to my example, okay, I got out of the marriage because I was abused and I was oppressed. Okay, I got out, but did my challenges end just because I ended the marriage? No, they didn't. Now I had a new set of challenges. And now I couldn't even blame anyone because now it was just me. So the only way I survived that was by having that strong connection with God and with myself, having faith in God, having faith in myself, creating the freedom, creating the independence, and and thereby implementing that in my life. So in short, what should a woman do? Well, she has to look at her situation. She has to look at her condition. That's why I put the women through my 30-day transformation course, because there's a piece at the end where I teach them financial independence too, because being an online entrepreneur, I love helping people create online businesses and stuff, and I feel there's a huge potential for that for women in Pakistan. But I don't let anyone take that financial course until they have taken the 30-day transformation course, because until you create that inner resolve, that inner strength, that inner connection with God, until you understand what does God want from you. So far you've been living this life where my parents wanted this, and then my husband wanted this, and then I should do this for my children, and I think the culture wants this. What does God want from you? So they get to answer that question themselves. I don't answer it for them. They begin to form this very deep connection with God, and the answers magically begin to appear. It's like mind-boggling to me to this day how life just begins to evolve and open up and change. And for some women, situations change so much that they are able to leave the abusive marriage, and some women actually don't leave the marriage, but the marriage changes.
Yeah.
You know, in one of them, the husband actually transformed more than my student, and she didn't tell him anything because I was only coaching her. So it's
Right.
like when you change, your life begins to change. When you transform, your life begins to transform. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping women and addressing this true feminism, this true model for women empowerment. It begins with a connection with God.